Hello, my name is Nakwa Kwabla with Midday Live. The headlines just are: voting underway in Buem constituency by-election to elect a new MP to replace late Henry Ford Kamal. Our reporter is on the ground and will be crossing over to get some live updates. Also in the headlines, President Mahama powers into operation the Takrady 3 power plant at Abuate under government emergency power intervention. 87 out of the 132 megawatts expected from the plant has been made available on the national grid. So these are headlines to be looking at for the next 1 hour, with other stories also making the headlines. But you can always get more updates on our website, tv3network.com, and also get in touch with us during the course of the program on facebook.com/news on TV3. The detail is next. Now, first story. President Mahama has powered into operation the Takrady 3 power plant at Abuate under government emergency power intervention. 87 out of the 132 megawatts expected from the plant has been made available on the national grid. Meanwhile, President Mahama has explained government is working frantically to get other plants on stream to end the current load shedding exercise by April ending. Kojo Ford reports.
Work at the Takrady 3 power plant started in February 2010. The plant is a 132 megawatt combined cycle plant which runs on both crude oil and natural gas. President John Mahama Monday visited the project site at Abuade near Takrady in the western region to ascertain the rate of work. Engineers working on the project informed the president and his team, including Energy Minister Amakofi Bua, work is 98% complete. The president inspected the 4 gas turbines, the cooling system and fuel transmission pipes, all part of the $256 million Government of Ghana funded project. The president also visited the state-of-the-art fully digital master control room for the T3 plant, where he powered 87 megawatts of the 132 megawatts onto the national grid.
Right in the middle of the black sand. Yeah? Go ahead. Everybody ready? Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, now tell
Good.
yes.
9 cents confirm.
And we will
and then I
go.
go yes. Okay.
Technical experts here assured the remaining 45 megawatts will also come on stream by the end of March. Later, President Mahama said government is working around the clock to end the power crisis.
We've not been sleeping. We've been trying to bring as much generation into the system as possible. And T3 is one example of this. We started it in 2010 and it's largely complete. There are just 2% of works left to have it fully operational, and so it's already started feeding power into the grid. I'm very happy. I still have sleepless nights over the load management, but I'm certain that before the middle of this year we should sufficiently ameliorate the situation for Ghanaians.
Meanwhile, President Mahama, on the sidelines of the T3 inspection tour, addressed a durbar of residents of Takrady, reiterating his promise of ending the load shedding exercise.
Still in the western region, President Mahama has sanctioned strong action against recalcitrant galamsey operators on the Pra River. Activities of the illegal miners have polluted the drinking water source, threatening to shut down the Dabuase water treatment plant, which feeds Takrady and environs. Kojo Hayford reports the president's action comes in the wake of the death of 2 naval officers who were pursuing illegal miners.
President Mahama and his team, on a visit to the Dabuase headworks, chanced some residents assisting with water production by manually desilting the plant's reservoir.
We have seen water here because the tide as at now is 1.7 meters. So when it is 1.7 meters, the water comes back from the sea. If you take this water, it's all salt water, because all this water has come from the sea. So it comes back from the sea. When it is like this, we cannot pump much. And when this one too is not there, then we have to allow more water to come in. We have to desilt here with the manual desilting with the hands, so that more water will get into the intake here and we'll be able to pump.
Engineer Daniel Mumala further lamented personnel at the Dabuase headworks have come to their wits' end as all measures to secure clean water for treatment have failed. The Galamsey operators, according to him, appeared unstoppable as they managed to excavate beneath this newly constructed rock embankment to prevent polluted water from feeding into the treatment plant. He described the situation as dire, as siltation has reduced treated water production here from 6 million gallons a day to less than 2 million gallons daily. The Ghana Urban Water Company is threatening to shut down the Dabuase treatment plant soon if no immediate action is taken to salvage the plant.
As a responsible government, we're not going to allow this situation to prevail. We will take very firm action against what is going on, especially those doing it along water bodies. Water is the source of life, and people depend on this water to drink. And so we can't allow this to continue.
It was reported last Saturday 2 naval officers, both members of a security task force, clamping down on illegal mining activities, drowned when their boat capsized. President Mahama, as part of his working tour of the Western region, met families of the deceased to sympathize with them, alongside those of 2 Ghanaian engineers who died on the West African gas pipeline restoration project. The families told President Mahama the painful sacrifice of the lives of their beloved relatives will be in vain if the Galamsey menace is not eliminated.
Was one qua without buffer ama on Menuinara. It's only a big general president there or in paying for no one shall now cry. Wait the best with the Madiano cry, my way for my money and ask my general. What's that them galam say, I can.
I'm going to support the task force to take urgent action to try and stop what is going on, especially the illegal mining that is taking place close to water bodies and in water bodies, because that is a direct and present danger to our population.
In the related development, the Western Regional Security Council has expressed its condolence to the families of the 2 naval personnel in the line of duty. The death of the 2 naval personnel last Saturday, February 24, during an operation to flush out illegal miners was received with shock, particularly by the Ghana Navy. The 2 deceased naval personnel have been identified as leading seaman Frederick Mensah and able seaman Moses Inchi.
A joint military police task force made up of 6 officers, 34 men and 4 officers in Dabuase to embark on an operation to flush out illegal miners. In the course of the operation, 1 officer and 4 ratings from the Western Naval Command pursued some of the illegal miners who had crossed the Pra River to the other side. Unfortunately for them, the canoe in which they were traveling capsized and 2 naval personnel, leading seaman Frederick Mensah and able seaman Moses Inchi, got drowned. The bodies of the deceased have since been deposited at the Fiankwanta Regional Hospital. The Regional Security Council has meanwhile appealed to civil society groups, traditional and religious leaders to help them deal decisively with the Galamsey menace. The activities of illegal mining have been persistent along the Pratt River, posing environmental and security threat to human and aquatic lives. In recent times, the situation has been compounded by the thousands of illegal miners flocking to mine in the intake point of the river. This threat has not only affected the source of water supply to the metropolis and adjoining districts, but also posed a health hazard. Many of the miners use mercury and other poisonous chemicals in the operations.
In the Ashanti region, the regional office of the Ghana Urban Water Company Limited has denied media reports that it is supplying contaminated water to consumers from the Barakesi headworks. The regional quality assurance manager told TV3 expired chemicals have never been used to treat water.
Media reports suggested that bags of aluminium sulfate packed at the Barakesi headworks were either without expiry dates or had expired, but officials of Ghana Urban Water in Kumasi denied the allegation. The company also denied infrastructural challenges when it took the new steam to the facility. The Regional Quality Assurance Manager, Charles Tulashi, insisted standards were never compromised.
We also use this opportunity to assure all our customers that the water that we are treating and sending out to all our customers from Barakesi water treatment plant and all our system in Ashanti region are very wholesome. They meet the World Health Organization standard and Ghana standard.
You're watching Midday Live, and here you can send your comment on any of the stories you see on our network to our Facebook page, facebook.com/news on TV3 now. During the past few weeks, some assemblies have been trying hard to get hawkers off the street and at unauthorized places, and the Medina Zongo Junction is not different. We have some hawkers who have taken over the newly constructed road. Now, senior colleague Roland Walker is currently at the place and will shortly be joining us to give us some live pictures and updates on the situation there. We are told the assembly wants to decongest the place now. Over to you, Roland.
Zongo Junction here in Accra, and that is what we're bringing to you, our live coverage of activities, especially concerning the encroachment by illegal hawkers or traders on the main junction, what has been known to many commuters as the Medina Zongo Junction. Now what you see is the main road, which is part of the road from Tetekwashi to Adenta, and what has happened is we've seen a lot more of the traders who have come in to encroach on sidewalks as well as the median of the road, and they have tried as much as possible to encroach not only at the median but also at sections which have been deemed to be unauthorized. We've had efforts by the Lankwantanan Medina Municipal Assembly to try to get off the streets, but it has not been possible. There has been frantic desperation as well as efforts that have been expressed or made by various business people who have found their way here. We'll try to get along the street, just cross the street, and get to find what really the concern of the traders here is and why they have come to display their wares just on the medians, and especially just even within the road. And you can see that cars even can't get access to the road, and you have traders who are selling all kind of wares, all kind of food stuff taken from the hinterlands to be brought here, whether it's used clothing and whatever they are selling. It has become a nuisance to many commuters who come here. We would want to speak to first some of the traders and ask them whether they have permission to sell here. Madam, at the saying, me pamocho na wana mambo permission saying come me to ade on kwano.
Oh, me de me new mum just me profo she jana me so me she jwa.
Nti omu shedwa na wo be shebi na mu nim se emra wo ho senka akwan de enya sanka eyade a nka mo beton ade wo kwan ho
ba cha me nim se emra ba ye pa cho esu ye hwe ma so ye obi ani ho oboa ye etemi so me ma no mu ko school ene ni amanti obi ani ho oboa me ntina me so me ye den
so those are the sort of responses you would get here. Now, many of these traders are not even within the municipality. Some of them even come from outside the municipality to come and display their wares just on the road and on the median. And if my cameraman can just go towards my right, you see that on the median, the middle section of the road, you have all kind of food stuff, fruits taken from all sections of the country, brought here to be sold. And we have a lady who says she is the head of the market women or the market queen along the streets of Medina Zongo Junction to talk to us. That's the same Pacho Afro saying.
Pacho Afro me je welcome forth. Me Pacho ha e wonum. The baby aye beko. Now say pa mo chaw. Mumu aye. Na skama mo je no alokware ye ni bi. Ye ni bi ti no mo baby akọ na e kire no. sky no near about what they church here. Now when I say Muslim is can be a while, don't tell your crop 1 million crop any. After Muslim and quiet and go to a scandal, tear pump with chow, the government is chow, on work a crack. Oh, shit, I cry pump with chow.
Now, you want one amount permission saying, come on, Mamma Twandi or Quano.
But I will be a my end. I got it.
I also want.
I got to say, but I don't know.
Now, Eban is saying, acquire Omusi, Omo Yakwayifi, Tatakwashi, a Pakodu Adenta. Now, you do Medina, you Quay, and I'm over Tom Adia or Quano. Mama, a car cry, Quine, so Mumma.
I don't with the young I said, because if we crap cry, they could shoot them and never book. I don't with the young Garcia. I don't know my pedicle, when I say for church. Now, when you say Yanamoye, oh, you knew Momu say any scantino, you didn't be a beco. It's a friend was not a baby. Scanis was with the power show. What is Scanis for my native in Kobe?
Well, so those are the sort of responses you get, especially when you speak to the traders. Just, appealing to emotions and trying to tell, officials of the La Nkwantana Municipal Assembly that, this is what they have to do to assist them as far as we're concerned. We'll try to get through here and then speak to officials of the La Nkwantana Municipal Assembly. But first speak to somebody who manages the bank. And you manage a bank. Which bank do you manage along here?
First National. It's a banking institution here.
Okay, and the First National is just across the road. And what has been the inconveniences you've been experiencing since the traders or hawkers came to encroach on the road?
We're actually having it very difficult for our customers to come to the bank. Even when you're giving directions to our customers, it's very, very difficult because they can't locate the exact place where the market is because they've taken over all the road. And we're also having problem with some of the drivers here. The way they apply their driving here is also affecting us, our activities as well. Sometimes when you are coming an official from the bank, you won't even get a place to park. And then there are a whole lot of problems we're facing here, which is really affecting the bank.
And have you tried to make complaints to the municipal assembly, the La Nkwantana Medina Municipal Assembly?
Yes, we've done that. We've made a lot of complaints to them, but we've not seen any progress. And all they keep on assurance that very soon they evacuate all the people from this place. And the current assurance we're getting from them that on Saturday they're going to evacuate all of them from this place. So we're hoping probably they do. I mean, the place that they are selling is not good at all. It's really affecting us here.
Do you think that the municipal assembly in themselves are committed to making sure that they evict these traders from this very point?
Yes, I think they are committed, but they are actually not using the right means. You see, when these people are complaining that they need a place, at least we are all citizens of this country. We know people are really struggling to make ends meet. So you have to find a place for them to go. They are citizens of the land. They are paying tax. You're collecting tax from them. So you should find a place for them. I'm not supporting them being here as well, but then you should find a place for them. I mean, we are all citizens of this land.
Well, so that is the current state of activities, the encroachment by traders here who are displaying their wares illegally on the streets, the main streets of the main road from Tetekwashi or Atomic Junction to Medina, which is under construction. And you get to see that it is a vivid picture which has elicited a lot more complaints from not only motorists but business people and various financial institutions who have their agencies or their firms here, their branches here. They have made constant complaints to the La Nkwantana Medina Municipal Assembly, but nothing so far has been done. The concern has been that the assurance and the commitment from the La Nkwantana Medina Municipal Assembly seem not to be there, and they are hoping that very soon these problems will be tackled. Now back to the studio.
Thank you very much, Roland, coming to us live from Zungu Junction, Medina, giving us some updates on the hawkers who have taken over the newly constructed road. And you can share your experiences with us on Facebook. If you use that stretch, you can tell us about the inconveniences the hawkers are posing to you. It's facebook.com/news on TV3. We'll be getting a similar update from from the Ashanti region a few weeks after the decongestion exercise in the capital. Now, let's go to the Volta region, where the usual excuse given by teachers who refuse posting to rural areas is the absence of infrastructure. But unlike many rural schools, the Dukope DA Primary and JHS has all the necessary infrastructure, but only 2 teachers, one for primary and one for the junior high school. Amakujo was in the school and has this report.
With a student population of 330, infrastructure at the Dedukoper DA Primary School and Junior High School is a luxurious one by the standards of rural public schools. The school building was put up with a Japanese government grant in 2003. Potable water and electricity are constantly available. The school has staff bungalows occupied by the school's only 2 teachers. How does only 1 teacher manage to teach the kindergarten and primary schools 253 people?
I have to run all the whole classes, especially the lower class. They give me a whole lot of problem. But in the upper class, I can't bring them together or group them and give one assignment.
Residents of Dedukope took matters into their hands after efforts to get teachers posted to the school proved futile. Community members with some level of education were employed as a temporary measure and have been at posts for the last 6 years.
When we came here, we have been trained, we had in-service, so we have been going through that route to teach. We don't have subject teaching here. I teach all the subjects that we've been teaching in the primary school. We've been employed by the youth and employment, but the payment is not regular.
Whenever we need them, we consult the PT and the SMC, and then they look at the community and then they provide a volunteer for us. I organize the e-service for them, especially how to make the register, how to call this in, how to look at the syllabus, what they are supposed to teach. I have to help them.
And the JHS 3 students will sit the same basic education certificate examination in April with their colleagues countrywide.
The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Professional Studies, Professor Joshua Labi, has called for higher institutions of learning to attach maximum attention to quality. The Vice-Chancellor noted quality should be the foundation for higher education.
According to stakeholders, quality at higher education levels should be holistic and considered through teaching and learning, assessment, facilities, staff and leadership. Representatives of participating universities presented strategies for ensuring quality.
By the time we start the new academic year, we equip ourselves for the work we have to do for the academic. So the first summer school in 2011, the team was equipping staff for leading change in academia.
We believe that academic aspirations without a strong moral, spiritual base would undermine efforts at ensuring holistic national development.
We believe that the third sub-layer or substructure of governance is actually the most important substructure that ensures that institutions are actually doing what they ought to do.
The representatives were, however, quick to add that their approaches were not without challenges. The executive director of the National Accreditation Board, Kwame Date, linked to a structure of education that had been established by colonial masters.
The established universities, having existed for some time, have not really restructured their governance structures to meet current needs and challenges of running modern institutions of higher learning.
The Dean of Graduate Studies of the University of Professional Studies is Professor Goski Alabi.
It is believed that quality is what you want and what works for you. If you want it and it does not work for you, it's not quality. If it works for you and you don't want it, it's not quality. But of course, one important aspect of quality is acceptability and recognition.
You're watching Midday Live here on TV3. The headline this hour: voting underway in Buim constituency by election. Let me just take one or two comments on that. And Francis Asinyo says, I pray for peace and tranquility during the by-election in Buim. Osei Kwabna says, people of Buim constituency should bury their differences and exercise their franchise peacefully. You can also send your comments as well. Now, it's time for What Do You Think? And it's on the campaign against domestic violence.
Recently, we've had several reported cases on domestic violence, and we hear some on the media, others we don't. The campaign against domestic violence is still on, and we're asking you this afternoon, is Ghana really winning the campaign against domestic violence and spousal abuse? What do you think?
If you compare to other countries or other news that we've been hearing from other countries, it's in ascendancy, but here it's decreasing. So we are on it. My advice to parents and guardians that they must always exercise patience towards their kids or towards one another. Because with patience, you can overcome all your obstacles.
What I think now and what I'm hearing, I think we need to be educative. That's the thing, because certain things we need to think twice before we proceed, than to do it and then come back to have the mind or to be cautious.
What I think is seriously is that Ghana, we are not winning the case against domestic violence, because when you look at the social fabric, it has broken down. Law and order are broken down entirely. Whatever is good in our culture, we should pick it up and try to modernize it. By so doing, we'll be able to build something up.
Sometimes it just comes natural. Like if you look at a painter case like this, it's not much. Most of, the media people normally hype such issues, because from painter's point of view, say just like a normal marital problems, and people just take it to be other things.
And your comments on the campaign against domestic violence, it's always welcome. It's facebook.com/news on TV3 social media page where you can post your comments. Now, we'll be going shortly to the Ashanti region, precisely to Kumasi. Some few weeks back, the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly embarked on an exercise to decongest the central business district of hawkers. We saw some stores being demolished because we were told they were sited at unauthorized places. Ashanti regional correspondent William Evans Inkum will shortly be bringing us live pictures and interviews as well on that. Over to you, Evans.
This afternoon, we are on one of the principal streets in the Ashanti region, Bantama High Street. Bantama High Street could be likened to that of Oxford Street, those of us who are actually watching us live from the Greater Accra region. But what is happening here is nothing short of a terrible development. Let me tell you this. Barely 3 weeks ago, the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly embarked on a massive decongestion exercise to rid off the street of hawkers. And the reason was very simple: to make the street easy for both pedestrians as well as vehicular movement. But now what is happening here is nothing short of a terrible development, like I mentioned earlier. So we ask, why are the hawkers or the traders back on the streets? The answers are not far from the fetch, because I have with me here the man Clement Kigeri, who was the spokesperson for the former mayor, Mr. Clement.
I am, not that I was.
Oh, right. Thanks for the correction. I quite remember 3 weeks ago you told us point blank that you are going to make sure that this decongestion exercise is actually sustained. But it looks like the word that you used was wrong.
I don't think so. In every society, you have people who decide on their own not to obey the laws. I can say the situation we have found ourselves now is purely recalcitrant behavior on the part of some traders. But let me tell you what, the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly has not relaxed. At this stage, we are doing what we call monitoring. We monitor to find out where we need to reinforce the exercise. We monitor to find out where the traders have come back onto the streets and where they have not. as I speak to you, we have a committee that is in charge of that. The committee is made up of the police, the task force, and the city guards, and that of administrators of the assembly. As we speak, we have scheduled a meeting this coming Thursday, and the meeting is to afford that committee to examine the lapses that we have encountered, and the committee will be re-strategizing as to how we can continue to enforce the monitoring process. We have touched on several places. We are talking about only Bantima. If you go to the Central Business District, free flow of movement is well enhanced. If you go to some runabout, the runabout is rape of people who usually or who formerly turn the place into lorry terminals. So these are some of the successes. We haven't gone, or we have not arrived yet. There are still challenges, but as we go along, we continue to correct and make some amendments so that at the end of the day, whatever informed the assembly's decision to undertake the decongestion exercise will not be a waste.
Well, we've been seeing challenges. I think that is not news to us because this decongestion exercise was started, long time. And are you telling us that you've not been able to address the very lapses you've been able to identify in the course of decongesting, or is that kind of you were visionless, if I should put it that way?
I would not want to agree with you. I have not said that we have failed totally. I have told you that there are challenges. You cannot have a perfect situation. No matter your strategies, you can't have a perfect situation. So I admit that there are challenges. It is when we fail to address the challenges, that is where one can talk about failure. But we have not failed to address the challenges. This issue of making sure that the city is free for vehicular movement is an issue of process. Now you have to ask yourself, how come that some people have been driven away from pavement and some have come back and others have not come back? This tells you that those who have not come back are those who are, if you like, decide to obey the laws. Those who have come back have decided not to obey the laws.
All right, so if viewers are keeping it very close to their screens, they can see packets of the traders who are actually occupying the Bantima High Street. And let me tell you something about this very street. A lot of detours actually link up to this street, and this street is also served as a ceremonial street. Not only that, this street also links to many tourist sites. For instance, we have the Kumasi Cultural Center, we have Konfanoche Teaching Hospital, which is not far from here. We also have 4B, and so you can understand the business of this street. But again, the hawkers, the traders have invaded the street and are causing a lot of problem for vehicular movement. Mr. Clement, we want to ask you again, how much do you normally invest in decongestion?
I don't know. I've had several instances to speak on this issue of the kind of investment we make on the decongestion exercise. I must be frank with you. We have not made any budget for the decongestion exercise. What we did was that those who are involved in the decongestion exercise are people who are already employees of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly. They are already paid by the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly.
But you do also engage the services of military and that of the police people. You pay them.
No, I wouldn't say we pay them.
We don't give them any per them. You don't give them anything to kind of.
We provide them food. We provide them water. We don't give them money. And if you even work in your office, at a point in time you need to go out and take lunch. You cannot engage the service of a policeman who will start somewhere around 5 o'clock up to 5 o'clock in the evening and will not eat. So
my colleague there, Evan Sinkum, coming through with that live update. Now the headlines this are: voting is underway in Buem constituency by-election to elect a new MP to replace late Henry Ford Kamel. There's more news after this break.
All right.
Many thanks for joining us on the business segment of the bulletin. My name is Kweku Temen. We're looking at latest updates from our markets, and already we've taken you to the Zongo Junction where we've given you a feel of the situation on the ground. My colleague Roland Walker brought you up to speed on some of those developments. Now let's look at other details from other markets. Now, reconstruction of sheds at the Medina market has taken off following the relocation of traders. Peter Kwadato reports all three contractors have moved to site.
The reconstruction was necessitated by the October 22, 2012 fire outbreak that destroyed 5 bays at the Medina market. Traders lost a fortune. The La Inquantinan Medina Municipal Assembly handed over the project on Friday, February 15, and asked traders to relocate to the market car park for work to commence on Monday, February 18. The contractors moved to site on Saturday, February 23, 5 clear days behind schedule. This was partly due to traders' unwillingness to move. Workers were already on site Monday morning, although some form of trading still existed. Business was, however, yet to pick up at the car park for the affected traders. Some of the traders were yet to report to base.
Let's do some more business stories. Now, President Mahama's plan to initiate a pilot scheme to combine social housing with improved sanitation and water supply has excited real estate developers looking for partnership with government. They, however, want government to change the fiscal and monetary policy and assist developers with infrastructure.
In his State of the Nation address, President John Mahama said government will work to consolidate various strategies to bridge the housing deficit. He said the strategies are opportunities for public-private partnership and will include the construction of rural and social housing for the poor as well as mortgage facilities. Some real estate developers prefer deeper partnership with government.
We have some freelance which are owned by government. They've been there since. We can come into arrangement with government. That is one of the areas where the government will say, okay, build, operate, and transfer. That is what we call the BOT. Okay, so we are going to build this type of houses for the people of Ghana. You can use that place for a period of, say, 30 years, 25 years, 50 years, within which you will be able to recover the cost.
He suggested engaging the Social Security and National Insurance Trust to implement the social housing scheme.
With government looking at social housing, definitely Social Security and National Insurance Trust Fund, I believe will be called upon to do some work or to bring their contribution. So I think it's a step in the right direction, because all the fingers are not equal. I tell you, like I do say all the time, we have some people in this country who have over 100 houses, but some have not even a single room to live on. So what the government has to do is to look at those who are unable.
Kofi Anoche urged government to re-examine areas like Nima in its urban renewal agenda.
Looking at other business stories, and this time we're talking about the Ghana Cedi, how it performed year 2012 and also making projections into year 2013. Now, these are some details. The Ghana Cedi came under intensified pressure on the interbank market throughout the year 2012 and could well go down in its history since the redenomination as its worst after year 2009's torrid performance. The situation got out of hand throughout the first and second quarters of year 2012, where the cedi, for instance, dipped by 9.25% and a further 9.72% respectively to the US dollar. The situation is a serious concern to businesses and investors and also to the socio-economic development of the nation, as any economic policy should have the stabilization of its currency as one of its main objectives. Now, this trend also affected interest rates on government's papers, which rose from 10.67% as at December 2011 to 23.12%, taking into consideration the 91-day Treasury bill rate. Now, the sharp increase in returns for government's papers was mainly to offset the foreign exchange losses of foreign clients. Well, so those are some updates on the Ghana cedis at 4:30. We'll just go into it and show you how it is trading against other major trading currencies. But we're looking at your investments this time. How did the equity market perform over the last week? Now, the Ghanaian Stock Exchange started the week's session on a good note with a general appreciation in value as per the indications of the market performance. That's its benchmark. The GSE Composite Index continue to rally around 6.35 points gain, while the GSE Financial Stock Index also closed at 11.34. So let's go to the market straight. Let's tell you about the equities and which one of them are trading. You've seen Benso Oil Palm Plantation, you've seen EcoBank Trust National Incorporated, and then Total looking at HFC and also Mechanical Lloyd. So those are the gains. Yesterday, Benso Oil Palm Plantation opened the market at 2.13 Ghana cedis. It closed at 2.29 Ghana cedis. It tells you of a change of 0.16 Ghana cedis. Quite an upward gain there. So if you have Benso Oil Palm shares, you should be seeing yourself going in for some good money. ETI also saw 1 peso up, and then Total also saw that great dip there, losing as much as 1 Ghana cedi, 99 pesos on the market. It opened at 26.99 Ghana cedis, yet it closed at 25 Ghana cedis. So those are some details from your investment markets. Later on this evening, we get to update you more on News 360. My name is Kweku Temi. Many thanks for staying with us on the business segment.
What's News is brought to you by
Digo. Express yourself.
Guinness. Reach for greatness.
Hello there and welcome. This is Sports on Midday Live. My name is Joel Champon. This afternoon, let's start with Coach Soccer. But before we go on, unconfirmed reports coming in indicates that Black Stars defender John Pentel has collapsed and he's been hospitalized at the Ghana Canada Hospital inside East Legon. John Pentel is expected to sign a bond of good behavior today at the Legon police station, where he was arrested last Friday after allegedly assaulting the wife, Rich Love Pentel. Well, now back to Coach Soccer, where Coach Soccer is to receive a major boost with the introduction of the Juvenile League set to unfold. This was told us here on TV3 during the mission on Sunday. Mr. Ernest Kufo, who is the Vice Chairman of the Juvenile Football Committee of the Ghana Football Association. Stars Academy. I know it's a juvenile thing. I mean, the Glow also is out with another one. When these telcos come out with this, the young ones who don't see their dreams really come to fruition or make it to the finals of whatever, I mean, it is. What is being done for them?
Because the Airtel last year, we were actually involved with the running of the whole program. And what happens is that when we play such competitions, football club owners, they come there and scout, you see. So in the process, people are able to identify the good ones and take them to their clubs and academies. So if you are not good, of course, I mean, your dream will not be realized. But once you are good, I can assure you, clubs will be there to pick you. And I ran a football academy. Okay. You see, during the last attack competition, I picked 4 of the players from the competition. And I know other clubs also picked some of them. So the idea is that once we organize these competitions, people come there to identify them and pick the good ones.
After being identified, what's the monitoring like? I mean, to ensure that these players who you see to be very good talents feed into our national sides, because it's like from under 17, we don't have the crop of players we see in the coach really being fed in there. They don't keep them to progress to under 20, to progress to under 23, then our national sides.
You see, we see with the introduction of the regional penal codes that we're going to play, you see that all these boys should be identified. And what the committee wants to do is that we want to spot the players, identify them, follow them wherever they are. Even if they are in the Sogakope Academy, wherever they are, we will make sure we monitor them. You know, there are a lot of seasoned coaches on the committee. Coach Ibrahim Sandy is
All right, Coach Soccer here in the country set to receive a major boost